recording. All right, so tonight is talk 2 about inviting, because I know everyone in the new Coach Basics from June has said that's their biggest struggle. And so I figure we will continue to talk about it this week. I know, hold on one second, someone's not muted. If you're not muted, mute yourself, please. I don't know. There's feedback. Maybe it's just the baby. That's I think it's just the baby. I don't know why it's doing that. You guys don't hear an echo, do you? Maybe it's just me. Okay. As long as you guys don't hear it. I don't know what that is. Like something in the background. All right. So follow-up. Inviting is like hot topic. And so that's why I invited the whole team, because it makes sense to just talk to everyone. I know it's a huge thing. I know in the beginning I was terrified of the word inviting people. We talked about that last week. So I want to go over, I'm going to try to make this 20 minutes or less, because you guys know our calls have been going to an hour and I'm like so exhausted, and I know you guys have work to do. It's the end of the month. And so I'm going to talk fast. You can watch this recording over, try to take some notes. I took notes myself so that I can try to stay on point and get you guys some honed in ideas and starting places. Because basically, if you're not inviting to the challenge groups and the coaching opportunity, you're not working the business. You can write that down on a piece of paper, on the top of your business notebook. Like, if I'm not inviting to the coaching opportunity and I'm not inviting to challenge groups, you're not working a Beachbody business. Simple as that. If you're sharing your pictures and workouts and stuff, that's great. But if you're not inviting people to join you, you're simply sharing your journey on social media. You're not creating a business if you're not talking to people. So that's something right here, right now, that you can write on a notebook. You can tell yourself over and over, if you are not inviting, you're not going to grow a team. You're not going to have people for a challenge group. It's just not going to happen, because people are not going to just show up in your inbox one day and want to join you. It's just not going to happen. And so there's 2 ways of going about inviting. We're going to talk about both those ways. One is publicly inviting. That's more social media, okay? That's your social media presence in your daily posting and sharing about the opportunity, about challenge groups, about coaching, about your journey, about your workouts, about your Shakeology. That's public inviting. That's a daily opportunity where you're sharing on social media to your following and the people you're adding value, and you're inviting to the opportunity by posting about it, by being proof that the product works, by showing up on Facebook every day and Instagram or whatever your social media presence is. That's public inviting, okay? And then there's part 2 where it's private messaging. We talked about that a little bit last week. I shared, some of my messages, what I do, what that looks like. And I'm also going to post some slides in our Coach Basics group of screenshots of messages that I've sent people. So if you're terrified of messaging, get it out of your head and go look at these examples. I have sent so many messages. I look back to when I started coaching and I was terrified. I was like, I don't know what to say. And, I could have said all the wrong things, but some of those people that I've messaged are now some leaders on our team. So don't discredit yourself because you're learning. Some of those butchered conversations that you have are what need to happen to get better and to get practice, okay? So don't feel like one day you're going to wake up and feel comfortable inviting. Unless you're doing it and butchering a few conversations, you're never going to get good or comfortable at it. So just know that every single message that maybe you screw up and say all the wrong things, they start following you and they realize that you're changing. And then maybe when you start having that conversation again with somebody, you're going to know the right things to say. And those people that I said all the wrong things to have followed me, and then they've realized that they want to join this team and they've become leaders on the team. So you could say all the right things right now to somebody and they could be the wrong person and never join. So don't feel like it's not an opportunity that you need to be talking to people about to practice for yourself. It's not just about getting somebody signed up. It's practice for you to be a leader in your business. As you join, coaches join your team, you're going to need to practice talking to people, socializing, right? So that is the biggest part of this business, okay? So that's why we're doing 2 parts on this. If you didn't catch last week's, I can't remember if I recorded or not, but I know I've recorded it before about inviting. No, I didn't. Some of you are right. I think I have a recording of kind of, going through the messaging process. This is going to be a little bit simplified, but it's more tips and tools and narrowing it down to help you guys. So again, I'm going to try to make it 20 minutes. So it's the most important part of your business. Put that, again, at the top of your notebook or your spreadsheet or wherever you work your business. Inviting is key in growing a business. Inviting is key in growing a team. And by inviting, I don't just mean a simple little message to one person a day. I mean constantly sharing and posting and talking to people. Like I said, there's two parts. I invite through my social media and I invite private message and email and now Instagram and leads. So it grows and expands, but there's two parts to it. And if you lack in one, if you're awesome at messaging people and they go look at your page and it doesn't look like you're a coach and doesn't look like you're doing any fitness or, doing anything to improve your health, are they going to believe you when you send that message? Probably not. So you have to be good at both sides of things. So we need to talk about mindset, because your mindset when you go and message people has to be of such, take yourself out of the equation, okay? This is not about you. This is not about you making a sale or a $40 commission on a challenge pack. This is about you presenting an opportunity to somebody that could change their life, okay? This is not about you making a sale. This is not about you building a team or getting rich quick next week. This is about you being willing to put in the work in the forefront of a business and being willing to help people and share the opportunity with every single person you meet, okay? So your mindset needs to be of such that you are out of the equation. And when you create a conversation, it's about that person and their goals and what they need. So an example that I heard, it's a great analogy. When you go to a restaurant and you order dinner, right? You're sitting there and you have dinner and they clear your plates. The waiter, 98% of the time, is going to come over and offer you dessert, right? They're going to say, do you want dessert? Would you like to see a dessert menu? And I guarantee you, you're never offended, right? Who's offended when that person, that server offers dessert? You're not offended ever, right? Never. Because what are they doing? They are presenting to you something of value. I guarantee that server has tried the chocolate cake on the menu and absolutely loved it, and they're offering it to you because it's delicious and it's their part of their job, right? You're not offended that they're offering you dessert. And so you have to look at it the same way. When you go offer this to somebody, it's because you love it and you have a reason you want to share it, right? And that's your job, is to ask and invite and present. So it's exactly like a server would offer chocolate cake to a guest at a restaurant. You're never offended. That person is never offended. That person might be stuffed and say no, but is the server going to be offended that they said no? Absolutely not. It's their job to ask. And they're not offended either way. If they want the chocolate cake, they don't sit there and analyze if the person is on a diet first. They don't analyze if the person maybe doesn't like chocolate or, whatever they're going to recommend. Maybe they don't like apple pie. They simply ask. It's not creepy. It's not weird. It's their job. No person at a restaurant, whether they're on a diet or not, I might be on the 21-day fix and somebody offers me dessert and I'm not going to be like, I can't believe you would ask me that. It's their freaking job. It's not creepy or weird, right? So take yourself out of the equation and know that's what you do for a living. That's what you do in this business. As your job, you present this opportunity to people, whether it be a challenge group or a coaching opportunity, the team, a fitness program. That's what you do. And most people are flattered that you would even think of them or that you would reach out to them and ask them or message them about this, right? Oops, is that muted? I don't know who's not muted. Sorry. Let's see. I'm trying to follow along my notes so I can keep going. Coaching and challenge groups are what we have to offer. And those things we all know have added value to our lives in some way, shape, or form. Whether you have kids and you didn't have time to go to a gym and the person that invited you to join a challenge group, it added value because you got that support from home. If you've joined the coaching team and you've created a team or a business or you're wanting to create that, you see the value because we have a team, a network of people supporting you in that. We have these calls. What has coaching done for you that has changed your life? Maybe it's, you smile more because you see messages coming into your inbox. Maybe you light up in the challenge group when somebody is posting on your stuff or encouraging you. Maybe it's just the idea of a lifestyle change that just makes you giddy every morning. These things that you're excited about, you are doing a disservice to your friends and the people that you're adding if you don't reach out and share that. Do you understand the mindset that's different in that conversation versus I want to sell you something? I'm looking at all your faces, and if I never reached out, you might have not ever known about this opportunity, or somebody else would have reached out to you, right? So why not me? Why not me take that chance, jump into your inbox, and see if this would be an opportunity? It's not my job to decide if the opportunity is right for you, but it is my job as a coach to ask and share what it's done for me and be open to it being a possibility for each and every person that I talk to. So this is where it came in. You're not a creep. You're not being weird. If you're passionate about this, you're passionate about what it's done for your life, the goals that you're setting for yourself, you're passionate about waking up each day and reading personal development or listening to stuff, and you're more inspired than you've ever been, and you have a pep in your step, that is something to share, right? If I, as a server, liked the chocolate cake, I'm going to tell every single person about the chocolate cake, regardless if they want it or even like chocolate. It's not my job to ask if they like chocolate before letting them know that it's my favorite, right? I do that when I say, hey, you can pick any flavor of Shakeology you want. My favorite's the chocolate because I'm a chocoholic. They can say I want strawberry. I'm like, cool, girl. Like, it's not my job to be right all the time or to pick who this opportunity is for. I might not know who's needing my help until I get in the inbox and I ask some questions and I start having that conversation. So again, you're not a creep. You are offering something of value. When you go see a movie, you probably make a post about it and say, we just went and saw Finding Nemo. It was great, or it sucked. Don't go see it, right? You're going to make a judgment call based on your experience. And based on your experience with Beachbody, which all of you guys are on this call and committed to growing a business because you're on this call tonight. And that shows me that you've had a positive experience with our conversation, with your coach, with your challenger, or with your challenge group. You've already begun to experience the Beachbody culture. You've already made a decision that this has impacted your life in hopefully a positive way. Otherwise, I don't know why you would be on this call. And you should reevaluate why you're coaching. However, that poor baby. Okay, hold on, guys. Pause. Okay. Yeah, she wants to be part of the call. Now, hopefully she won't cry and be too loud. All right. Okay. Seriously, she gets to eat more than the 21-day fixed meal plan. It's not fair. Okay, let's see. Where were we? Relax. I said this, but if you don't offer the opportunity of a challenge group or the coaching opportunity to join your team, I guarantee at some point somebody else will. So stop being in your own fear bubble and realize that somebody else is not going to be as fearful, and reach out to that person if you don't. Maybe it's the rock star coach on your team, but if you're too terrified to ask or to invite somebody, they're going to be flattered. I know I was flattered. Any of you guys here, were any of you creeped out or panic-stricken or freaked out or weirded out that your coach invited you to be a coach? Or were you more flattered? And maybe you didn't respond. Maybe you were like, oh, I'm terrified. But were you like mad or offended that the coach that you joined with reached out to you? Were you ever offended or mad that they reached out to you? Do you see what my point is? There is no wrong person that you can reach out to. There's nobody that you can't reach out to. And now we're going to talk about the 4 possible scenarios that could happen, because there's nothing that could happen in a conversation or a message that you send that's going to explode your life and you're going to blow up and just cease to exist, right? And so let's talk about the things that when you invite, there's 4 outcomes. What's the worst thing that could happen when you invite somebody? I'm going to go off my list to make sure I give you the 4 things that I always share with coaches. Okay, so there's 4 outcomes. The first one is you send a message, blah, 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 and then what? No response, right? That was my reaction. When my coach sent me a message, I was like, oh, I'm just not going to respond. I'm going to pretend I didn't see it. Even though I know she sees that it says red, I'm just going to pretend not to. But guess what I did? When my coach sent me a message about coaching or about a challenge group, what was my first initial reaction? And probably 90% of other people's reactions when you send a message to them, they're going to go to your Facebook page. And so that's your public invite. If you went to your wall right now, would somebody know that you invited? Would somebody know that you have something to offer, that you're a Beachbody coach, that you're looking for new challengers and coaches for your team, that you're actively doing what you're inviting others to do? Would they know? Because if they're not responding, 98% of those people are going to your wall. You send that message, hey, Sarah, I would love, I've been seeing your family. Oh, that's so great that you're doing that vacation over the summer, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I have this fitness and health challenge group. I just wanted to reach out and see if that's something that you would be interested in or anyone you know would be interested in. Let me know. And then if they don't respond, it's not because they don't want to or they're not interested. They want to know that you're committed first and that you're not spamming people with something that you're not following up and following through with. So I guarantee they get that message, they read it, you see red, and they click on your thing and says view profile. And if they go to your profile, are you publicly inviting so they can see, oh, she just posted her results from Insanity Max 30. She just posted drinking this shake. She just posted, like, her banner is of her and her family, her dog, and walking and fitness and health, and she's so motivating. And that quote, yeah, like, this girl has it together. Like, she seems like somebody that could really help inspire me work on my fitness and health goals. If you're not backing up your private invite, they're not going to trust you, and vice versa. If you're posting and posting and posting and you're not sending any private messages to people, they're not going to necessarily know that you have availability on your team, or that you're looking for new coaches, or that you want new challengers each month. So you have to be good at both and practice both and balance it out. If I went to your wall, I want you to ask yourself when you get off this call, and I want you to go evaluate your page and say, would somebody know that A, I'm building a team and I want them to join me, and B, I have fitness and health challenge groups, and not in a spammy way, and I am rocking them out and I am working on my goals and I want them to join me for support and accountability, and we can do this together. Would they know that by going to your page? Because I see a lot of coaches where I go to their page and what do I see? I'm like, oh, they shared a cookie recipe. They shared this weird thing from some other website. They did, like, I wouldn't know, right? They might message me, but then I go to their page and I go, I would have no idea. And I'm going to be like, wait, this girl's going to help me? What does she have going on? Nothing. I don't understand. So you have to be both sides. You have to be sharing social media and be that presence so that when somebody clicks, they can go, oh, it makes sense. And then they're comfortable messaging you back. So there's 4 outcomes. We're talking about number 1, they don't respond. Like, woo, it happens. It happens to me. It happens to everybody. It happens to top coaches all the time. So number 1, maybe they say yes right away, right? They become a rock star challenger and you convert them to a coach and they're a rock star on your team. That's what we want, but that doesn't happen very often. But that's one outcome. And then number 2, they say no and become, or number 3, sorry, we talked about no response. Number 1 is no response. Number 2 is yes right away, signs up. Number 3, they say absolutely not. You're like, okay. Or they say, no, not right now, it's a busy time, or they go into more depth about, money's tight, or I can't afford it, or, my kids just started soccer, I'm too busy, blah, blah, blah. I just started this program, not right now. Guess what the no's become? Those are your follow-ups, right? I always talk about following up. Those are your follow-ups. So in a week or a month, you go back and you say, hey, Summer, how's it going? How's soccer practice with the kids? How was your trip to Hawaii? Whatever it was, you have something to connect with them because they answered and said no and most likely had a reason, right? Not right now, I'm too busy. No, thanks, I'm trying this. I don't have the funds right now. You can check in just by going to their page and seeing what's going on and make a message and follow up. That's your follow-up. So that's number 3. Number 4, they block you and you move on. Those are the outcomes that could potentially happen to any invite you send. And none of those are terrifying, right? When you break it down, is it terrifying to not get a response? No, right? You move on with your day. Is it terrifying to have somebody say yes because then you have to know what to say next? Take a breath, go to the script, be excited and share what a challenge group is or ask them a question. And then lastly on this call, I want to talk about keeping it simple. If you want to engage and keep a conversation going, you have to take control of the conversation by always ending in a question. By ending in a question, you are more likely to get a response than sending them a statement message. And for example, so if I sent Summer, hey girl, I hope you're having a good summer, period. That's not asking for something back. She might respond and say, I am, how are you doing? But most likely she's going to read it and move on with her day. If I phrase the question and say, hey Summer, I saw your post about your trip. How was it? It looks like you had a great time. Question mark. That is asking for a response and engagement from that person, and they're more likely to respond to you. So same thing goes when you're talking about a challenge group. When somebody says, yeah, can you get me details? I'm not going to say, I sure can, absolutely, period. I'm going to say, I would love to get you details. Can you share with me more about your fitness and health goals? Question mark. You always want to bounce it back to them. It's like playing tennis. You're not going to stall the ball and expect them to throw the ball back. If the ball's in your court, you need to send it back with a question. I don't care what you're talking about, but you can always end in a question. Somebody can say, your girls are gorgeous, or whatever. I've been getting that a lot lately. I've been posting nothing but baby pictures. So say I get that message. I'm not going to say thanks, period, right? That doesn't engage. This person clearly wants to engage with me. So I'm going to keep the line of communication open and say, thanks, girl. Your son is so cute. How old is he? Or thank you so much. Like, thanks for the message. I really appreciate that. Being a stay-at-home mom is rough sometimes. It's nice to hear from other ladies. What are you up to this summer? Anything to engage back and get them to respond back to me. So when you're having those conversations, get out of your head that they don't want to talk to you and realize that maybe you're the problem and not asking the right questions, or you're not asking anything at all. So when you take yourself out of the equation and start engaging them more, they're more likely to open up. I always ask questions. I always keep it simple. The second you start blabbing data at them of what a challenge pack costs and what they get and the bonus DVD programs, you lose them, okay? You've got to keep it simple. You've got to keep it about them. You've got to keep them engaged. And the no's are always your follow-ups. Remember that. Okay, I think I have one more note. So I mentioned going to your page and judging yourself. Would somebody know? So that's part 1 of your homework. Go to your page and evaluate yourself. Or somebody on this call, ask them to go to your page. Or ask me. I've done page evaluations with coaches and say, hey, that's no. Change this. Or that's great. But partner up with people in our Coach Basics chat or ask on the team page and say, will somebody go check my page out and see, does it look like I'm a coach? Does it look like I have something to offer? Ask somebody. Criticism is a good thing. I love asking people. This is another thing in conversation. If somebody says no, or the coaching opportunity isn't for them, or challenge group's not for them, I say, that's totally fine. It's not for everybody. Can you tell me a little bit about why not, or what I could have done better in this conversation? You can ask for feedback. Okay? So always engaging, always asking, and not being afraid of asking hey, what could I have done better in this conversation? Or, what has you not interested? It's always nice to know, because then for the next conversation, you're going to get better, right? I love criticism from my coach. I ask her all the time. When I first started coaching, I was like, what do I need to do different on my page? And she's like, smile in your profile picture. I would have never even thought of that. Duh. Like, silly. Like, I never smiled. It was a very serious, like, there was nothing wrong with it. I wasn't frowning. I just was like, I didn't look as inviting as when I was a mom smiling. And like when I invite people or add people, it was like, oh, this girl seems friendly. She's smiling. Simple stuff that I wasn't offended. I was so glad. And now I smile in my pictures and I get a lot more traction on them. Duh moment for me. Like, it was just, thanks for telling me that. I didn't even notice that I don't smile that big in my pictures. And that was about, 8 months ago. And now I smile, and guess what? My engagement went way up. Just because I started looking more welcoming to people, more engaging with people, like, oh, she doesn't look like she's going to bite my head off type of person, or intimidating in any way. I'm not trying to be a supermodel that people are intimidated by, I'm trying to be a mom, just sharing my stuff. Let's see. Okay, so second part of your homework. Write down all the things coaching has given to you. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but maybe it's given you a sense of purpose. Maybe you smile more. Maybe you're happy to get on team calls. Maybe the vibe in your challenge group help you get through the day. Maybe you're excited about the future. Maybe you love setting goals now. Maybe you have goals that you never would have had before Beachbody. Anything that gets your juices flowing, write those down, and those can start being your coach posts, okay? When you share about the coaching opportunity, it does not have to be build a business, make 6 figures, join my team, and spammy. I just made one today about, it's a picture with me and Penelope, and you can go read it if you want. It's just like cuddling. Like, I wouldn't get to do that if it weren't for Beachbody. I would be at my full-time job working 50 to 60 hours a week, and the nanny would be cuddling her. I would come home and get probably an hour, but then it'd be time to put her to bed or hold her through the night during crying phase. But does that make sense? I made a post so genuine about me being a mom and what coaching has done for my life with my girls that it's incredible what 2 years difference has made. I get to sit on my couch, nurse my little girl, put her down for nap, and then work in those pockets of time. I get to never miss a dance recital. I get to cuddle whenever I want. I get to be the one to see my daughter take her first steps with Sophia. I didn't get to see that. It hurts me. I had to get a video on my phone when I was at work, and Aaron's like, she did it. That crushed me. And so those kind of moments, those deep moments of what has coaching given you, maybe you've only been a coach for a day and you have no coaches on your team, you've never signed a challenger, but what inspired you to become a coach? What do you like about the coaching? What does it do for you, right, as a person? Those become your story. Those reasons why become the posts you share and the passion. You can tell, like, this is not faked. You guys know I get on these calls. This is not just coffee buzz. Like, this is what I do because I want to. I could go to a 9-to-5 job and make money, but I would not be filled like I am with purpose, with passion, with love for what I do. I wouldn't have that. I would go to my 9-to-5 job. I'd come home exhausted. I would take care of my kids. I would wake up and do it every single day with no hope of anything further than that being it. Maybe I would get a raise of $1.50 a year. But this business gives me the hopes of retiring my boyfriend in a year. This business gives me purpose of like traveling whenever, wherever we want at any time without sick leave or having to, take time off, paid time off, or unpaid time off. I never got paid leave. So anytime I wanted to go on a trip was like, that's not only paying for a trip, that's also a week's worth of pay that I'm not getting. Now, guess what? I got to go to Florida and I made one of my biggest paychecks to date while I was on vacation with my family. That's nothing to sneeze at. It took 2 years to get there, but guess what? I was powered down that Florida trip. Besides sharing my Florida trip, I was powered down. I would maybe jump on for 15, 20 minutes to, shoot some messages, check in and post. That was it. And I made my biggest paycheck. That is what the freedom that Beachbody gives me, that I love, that I find passion of getting to be at the beach with my daughter and not have to worry about what am I going to do to make up those hours when I get back. Or I took all my sick days, so the next time she's sick, we better have a grandma in place to come up and hang with her because I can't. Those things, the trips you want to go on, that's reality with this business, guys. There's a Success Club trip. If you're hitting Success Club, you could earn. I don't know if you saw or you've been following me long enough to see I went to Mexico. I took Aaron to Mexico with me. We went for free. Amazing resort. They took us there, paid for everything, food, activities, through parties. We did all sorts of stuff, trainings, workouts, paid for it. Just by hitting my goals, I got that trip because I'm going to hit Success Club regardless because I want to build a business. But I got that because they encourage finding 3 people to help a month. I think next year is Dominican Republic and there's a wait list, but you could get on that. And if you're hitting Success Club and you get off the wait list, you could go on the trip as well. So go check it out. It's successclubtrip2016.com. I'll find the link and I'll send it to you guys. Or I'll post it in the team page. But you can get on the wait list. You don't pay anything until you get off the wait list. And if you're hitting Success Club, it pays it by you hitting Success Club. So something that you should be doing in your business as you're working towards something, you can go to the Dominican Republic. Aaron and I are going next year. We've upgraded our cabin, like all this crazy stuff. Like something I never would have been able to do if I was working at my old job. All I'm saying is you have to come up with reasons why you're doing this business right now beyond just a paycheck each week, because it's not $1 million company tomorrow for you, right? You might be getting $40. You might get a $200 paycheck, which is amazing. And I was sharing those things, but you've got to love it for more than just a paycheck each week. I love this for so much more, for freedom, for having a passion. I am not a perfect stay-at-home mom. It was not my dream to stay at home with kids. And I'm honest about it. I was not one that I was like, I just want to have babies and stay at home and do the mom thing. That was the opposite of the old Bree. I did not have any idea. So this gave me purpose and direction of where my life was going. I love my girls, but I also love having a purpose and passion for something outside of being a mom. That's fine if you love being a mom and that's all you want. But if you love coaching, it could be your passion. It can be something more than just mommy all day. If you're not a mom, this could be the avenue where you never have to work in corporate America. You might never have to. I know my success partner, Kendra, she jumped out of her bachelor program and is now coaching full time because she's like, heck, why am I paying all these student loans and stuff when I love Beachbody? What am I doing? I could stop that, stop paying somebody to tell me what I'm going to do with my life and start doing it for myself. And she is. And now she gets to be home with her son. And she's no longer away teaching, working a job, and going to school and studying on her time off. She made it. She was like, well, screw it. I see the opportunity, right? So if you're not inviting, you're not building a business. You're not talking to anybody. You're not inviting anyone. You're not getting anywhere because you're not opening the doors to people. Let's see. So write those things down, okay? The first part of your homework is evaluate your page. Have somebody else evaluate it or evaluate it yourself and say, realistically, if I went to my page and scrolled the first 3 to 5 posts, would somebody know that I have something of value to offer, okay? And then secondly, write down what it is about coaching. What is that thing? What are those things that you love about coaching? Not just, I like helping people, okay? That's great. I love helping people too. I think anybody, even if you're not a Beachbody coach, would love to help people. It needs to be personal to you. I love coaching because it gives me freedom, because I get to be home with my girls, because I get to put my own hours around this business, because I get to dream bigger than I ever thought possible. Those are my whys of coaching. So you need to write down yours so you can visualize it and say, that's why I'm going to show up every day. Not because of a paycheck of $40 tomorrow, but because I have a huge goal that's bigger than what corporate America is offering me, bigger than what my life right now looks like or could offer. Okay, I think that's it. Hey, not bad. 30 minutes, 38 minutes. Oh, I forgot to mention. So we were talking about does your page, so evaluating your page. Your market, the people you're adding are not mind readers. So if you haven't noticed by now, I message you all and I message potentials and do follow-ups because they're not mind readers. They don't know that July 5th is the start date of Bree's new challenge group and I better message her, right? They don't know that my new Coach Basics camp starts next week. They don't know this. Unless you're telling them, they don't know. So you have to be constantly reminding them because you're always adding new people. So you can always add that value. You can always share the same stuff because you're always adding new people and new friends into this business, into these challenge groups, okay? Alrighty. I think that's like a record for going through a team call or through a Coach Basics, at least for this group. Any questions? Summer, are you muted? Are you asking questions?
No, I unmuted myself.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Okay, so I don't really have a question. I just had something to add. I just finished GoPro.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I really picked up on was when you message somebody, don't ever ask what you think. Ask them what they liked about it.
Yeah.
Because it adds positivity instead of them looking for the negatives.
Absolutely. I do that when I send, so my coach webinar, which you ladies, you guys can all use that. Like when I host a webinar, I recorded it and I put it on YouTube. So when you're like, hey, yeah, absolutely, you want info on the coaching? Like my team just hosted a webinar with, more about coaching and stuff. How about you check it out and tell me what you liked about it? Boom. Don't tell me why you don't want to coach. Just tell me what you liked about it. We'll chat more. That's exactly right. And I got that from that book as well. Ask them what they don't like about coaching or why they don't like. Let me know what you're worried about. Like, no. Build positivity into your messages, and that will read through. People can sense fear. They can sniff it thousands of miles away. I don't care if you're talking to somebody in Canada. They know when you're sending a message and you're going, they're probably going to say no and say it's too expensive and not believe me. They can tell, right? I've missed the boat when I was a new coach when it comes to that because I had those people that were like, this girl has no idea what she's talking about. She's crazy. So don't be anxious about it. If you have to, pour a glass of red wine. It's 21-day fix approved if you give up your yellow containers. Pour a glass of wine and sit down and talk to people. They will feel that sense of confidence in you from miles away. Oh, now you're going to sleep. From miles away through a Facebook message. They can tell when you're being genuine. If you are in it and sending a message going, they're probably not going to, and I'm not going to get my $40 commission, and now I'm going to have nobody for my challenge group. Nobody wants to join that person. So stop the negativity in your own head, because if you have negativity about this business and like self-limiting beliefs in this business, if you're saying there's no way I could become a diamond coach or beyond, there's no way I could make a six-figure income, guarantee you're not going to. If you say you are worth it and you can do it because people just like you have done it, and it's absolutely possible because you are more than enough to do this business, and you go in with that attitude and your red wine, you absolutely can send those messages without as much fear, and people will respond to that way better than if you go in like a robot sending a message that maybe I've sent somebody. Send something genuine. Send something that shows you care, and send something short and simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't freak somebody out by sending them 5 paragraphs of scripted information before they've even said what their name is, right? All right. Thanks, Summer. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Anybody else? Questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
My name is Taryn. I'm my upline coach is Erin.
Yeah, perfect.
Hi. So I wanted to know, I don't necessarily need a script, but do you have it broken down to how you can approach the question, maybe some specific things you want to talk about before actually saying, hey, here's this opportunity?
Like topic of conversation?
Not necessarily because everybody's different, and I know that I talk about different things with different people, but I mean, like, I don't know, I don't know how to say what I'm asking.
Maybe I have examples, and those are on the slides that I was reading off tonight. I just didn't want to screen share because it has names on them, so I'm going to blot the names out, and I'm going to share those slides with you guys. I think that's maybe what you're asking, is just some examples of how I talk to people.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Let me know if the slides help. Otherwise, you can reach back out to me or Erin, and we can talk more about it. But I think the slides will show you a little bit. It's just examples and actual things that I've said and other coaches that I've kind of filtered out, top coaches of what they've said and conversations that they've had. And I've picked ones that I think are good for our team, and I put them into a slide. So I will share those slides with you guys as soon as names and stuff are blocked out. I didn't have time to do that today, which is why I didn't screen share them. But I will share those slides tomorrow morning or tonight if I get to it. If this child goes to sleep, I will share them. Are you in the Coach Basics group?
I don't think I am.
Okay. I'll make sure that I post them in the team page as well.
Okay.
And make a photo album or something. There is also a photo album that's more to price objections, but it's some examples too of like what I say to people and what other coaches say to people when it comes to different things, like what do I say? And it's some examples. It's in the photo albums of the team page, and it's literally called, I think it's price objections, and it's slides of just examples of what we've said to people. So that might help too when you're talking about challenge groups specifically. And then, of course, I think you've seen, or Erin might have tagged you in the actual team script when you get to the challenge group part of it, of how to talk that part of it. So I think these slides will help you in the conversation part that you're talking about before you're just like, here's what a challenge group is.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Good question. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Yes.
So like when you message somebody or contact somebody not talking about challenge group or anything Beachbody related yet, how long do you usually wait before you ever bring that up? Because I don't want to bring it up like too soon to where it seems like that's the only reason why I'm messaging them, but I don't want to wait forever either to where they forget about our conversation before.
I would say 3 weeks is a good, like, if you follow up with them, so say you send a message, it's not a hey girl challenge group invite, it's like an actual like, hey, I loved that picture of your little girl, how old is she? I love meeting new moms. Like that kind of totally not anything to do with fitness or challenge group. If you're sending something like that, 2 to 3 weeks, as long as you do a follow up, and then you can send that, hey girl, not sure if you'd be interested, but I have a 30-day fitness and health challenge group, and I thought of you, it might be something you're interested in. I know you have kids too, or I know you have a busy summer. I know you've got, a lot going on with your job. It's an online fitness and health challenge. Keep it really simple. I'm rambling because I've been talking too long. Keep it really simple, and you can send that, what we call a cold invite to a challenge group, where you can say, I just saw you pop up in my newsfeed. I wanted to reach out and see if that's something you or anyone you know would be interested in getting info on or would be interested in. And that gives them the opportunity to either say, no, it's not something, and you can be like, great, totally fine. Do you know anybody else that would be? How's your week going? And you can move on from there because you've had a conversation before and you can completely move on from it. But then, again, don't be afraid to, in a month, follow up again and say, hey, girl, I know last month you were crazy busy and you had that vacation coming up. I have another fitness and health challenge. You had mentioned that it might be something you were interested in the future. Or when they say no, you can literally say, when they say because of XYZ, you can say, totally get it. Is it something you'd be interested in the future for when I have my next challenge group? When is a good time to check back? And you simply put their name down and you put a date. And then you check back in with them and you do a follow-up, and then you invite them again to your next challenge group. That's how you do follow-ups, and that's how you eventually send those invites to challenge groups. I create my relationships 1 month. And then those relationships that I send invites to are the people that I actually invite to my challenge groups the following month. So I might talk to 100 people about the weather this month or their kids. And those are all people that I'm going to send a message to next month and say, hey, Kelsey, I've got a 30-day fit and health challenge group. I just saw you pop up in my newsfeed and thought I would reach out and see if that's something you'd be interested in. Super simple. Ask me a question. No, you're not interested. Great. How's your week going? Right? That's simple, easy, not scary. But sometimes they're like, oh, yeah, what's your fitness and health challenge? And from there, I can go in and we can talk about their goals. I say, well, it's a group of women online. We work on fitness and health, goals together. Based on your, goals, we can find you a good fit. Are you working on any fitness and health goals? Or what would some of your fitness and health goals be? So it's very natural to ask that question. Like I said, if you're publicly inviting, like we talked about earlier, if you're publicly displaying what you do, they are going to most likely know that that question is coming, right? It's not weird. They are going to see that you're a coach. They are going to see what you're about, that you're into fitness and health. And if it doesn't come up naturally, if they're accepting you as a friend and they follow you or see your stuff or you've had a conversation, they're going to know that eventually that the invite's coming, okay? And they should know that. Like, they should see, oh, she's a Beachbody coach. And if you can have a natural conversation or talk about something for a minute, you should be able to send that invite and feel confident in it. Any other questions? Good? All right. Hopefully this call was helpful. I recorded it. I'm so glad I remembered. If you want a page evaluation by me or another coach, post in the team page, and I'm sure lots of people, you can even post, be like, hey, y'all, go check out my page, will you, and evaluate me in the comments or something like that. That's a great way to get feedback. I did that in, a year and a half ago in my coach's team page. I was like, hey, can y'all do me a favor and look at my page and see what you hate about it and what you love about it? Like, give me some feedback, Somebody was like, well, you haven't posted about the coaching opportunity once. I'm like, oh, you're right. And now I do it every day. So it's good to get information, to know how you can better serve your purpose as a coach, right? All right, so you've got homework. Hopefully this helps break down the inviting process, connecting with people, getting out of your own head, stop making it about you or your growth or your goals. Think about the chocolate cake. It's not creepy, okay? It's your job. All right, I think I finally got her rocked to sleep again, which means I'm going to go do my invites. I hope you guys go do your invites. There's a little over a week left in this month. So finding your 3 is still completely doable. You've got to talk to a lot of people, but I know it can happen. I think, well, she jumped off already. Ashley Watts has found 2, so proud of her. And then Kelsey's signed a coach. Let's see. And I'm sorry, I don't know anybody else's on here. Stats. Anyway, have a good night. Love y'all. Talk to you next week. Well, sooner than next week, but call next week. All right, guys. Have a good night.